Hey babe, I'm so happy that you clicked on this episode. One, because it means that you're willing to take accountability for the part that you play in the faking orgasm cycle. And two, because you want to put a stop to it. You know you are worth the sensations, you are worth the orgasm, and you are worth the pleasure. Now, I know this wasn't easy for you to admit, but don't worry, lots of us have been there, including myself. Now, there are a lot of reasons why we might be faking an orgasm. Maybe it's because we're not in the mood and we just want it to end quickly. Maybe it's because we're lacking sensation. Maybe it's because our partner doesn't know how to give us pleasure and we haven't communicated that over. Perhaps even it's the fact that we've never had an orgasm by ourselves, or we're pre-orgasmic with a partner. And then a lot of the time as women, we like to people please, which isn't always necessarily the greatest. And in fact, one of the main reasons why we tend to fake orgasms is specifically because we're trying to boost our partner's confidence. However, as we're doing that, we're doing a disservice to ourselves and we're also doing a disservice to them. One, we're breaching that trust with ourselves and with our partner. We're lying to ourselves and we're telling ourselves that their pleasure is way more valuable than ours, when intimacy is about the two of you together, about communicating together, about experiencing and connecting and building that bond emotionally and physically. So even though there might be shame, there might be guilt, there might be fear of judgment and fear just of the conversation in general, I am here to help guide you through different steps on how to stop faking that orgasm and put an end to this cycle. Even though sometimes it feels like this has been going on forever and there's absolutely no way to put an end to it, especially if you're in a long-term relationship, I'm telling you right now, that is not true. It is never too late to have that conversation. It is never too late to own your pleasure. Together, we can help break this cycle. Oh, also, something super exciting. All of my pre-orders that were done for my merch have all been shipped out today. So if you haven't grabbed any of my merch, click the link down below, purchase an oversized after sex hoodie that is filled with a luxurious, buttery soft velvet. And when you do so, you get a chance to win out of 200 people a one-on-one coaching session with me, as well as 1 free month of Patreon, which will be launching next month, which will be giving you content and a community that no other platform will see. So cop some merch, support my content, and enjoy that oversized hoodie. All right. Now let's get back to it. So just to dip our toes into the female audience, I decided to do this video because it hits close to home for me. This is something that I struggled with too. This is a cycle that took me a while to acknowledge and to accept and then to address. I am just so happy that you are taking this first initial step, and I'm happy that I'm going to be able to hopefully give you guys some tips today on how to do so. So to start things off, I want to talk about how this conversation that you might be having with your partner is not going to be pretty. Now, I don't want to start this off with like a low energy and a low vibe, but it is just something that needs to be honestly said. It is not an easy conversation to have. You're going to need to tell your partner that you have been faking orgasms, and certainly they are going to be upset. Even if they are the most understanding, the most calm, and the most considerate person in the world, their feelings are still going to be hurt. And if they're not so understanding and they're more on the wounded side of things, they're going to become more toxic, freaking out and making it almost all about them. But in this conversation, as long as they are allowing you to express yourself and explain on why and how you landed in this cycle, then it's also only fair for us to give them room to express their concerns and allow them to be shocked and express their shock. So when you're having this conversation, we're gonna need to be explaining why we are doing so. I think a really important thing for us to know as women is that we're not always gonna be experiencing orgasms. However, we should always be experiencing pleasure. And it's important that we let our partners know too, where women are usually 65% of sometimes, if not all the time. But if you explain personally your struggles with orgasms, whether or not it's happened before, whether or not you can give yourself one, and then try explaining how it happened in the first place, how we landed here today, then your partner might have a better understanding on why you have been faking your orgasms. And then they're not solely just gonna blame themselves. The third part of our conversation is actually gonna be the reassurance piece. We need to reassure our partner that we still find them sexy. Tell them the things that you enjoy that they are doing. Emphasize that it's not their lack of skill. And even if it is, phrase it a little bit differently. Rather than telling them they're not good at doing something, try to phrase it in terms of your needs rather than their failures. Or else we'll hit them with that really big blow, and that can impact your sex life tremendously. The fourth part of this conversation is to actually come up with a solution. The what is next. This is where you take control of your pleasure. Tell them what you enjoy. Tell them what you want to try, what you want to explore. Tell them how you please yourself or what feels good to you. Maybe you can bring a toy into the bedroom. Maybe you guys can partake in some mutual masturbation so you guys can watch and learn from one another. This isn't just a time for you to gain back your pleasure, but also for a time for you to pay attention to your partner's orgasm as well. What feels good to them? It's a chance for them to get what's on their chest off as well. We just don't want to be leaving our partner like they're floating in a sea of failure. Instead, let's try to explain how our needs can be met or how you want to experiment and explore together. Try to give them a constructive idea of what the next step is. The next thing that I want to add is something that is also going to be a little bit hard to do, and it's to not put pressure on ourselves to orgasm and to not put pressure on our partner. Because now that we've established that we have been faking orgasms, it's gonna feel like a lot of pressure on you to have one the next time they try to go and do something. And that exact pressure is what's probably gonna be the thing that pushes you away from achieving your orgasm or even experiencing pleasure in your body. So I need you to promise me, or try your best to promise me, that you are not gonna start keeping track of all the times that you didn't hit your orgasm. And that they're not gonna be keeping track of that number either. And that maybe it's not gonna happen for a while because you're starting to learn about your own pleasure and how you like to receive pleasure from your partner. Plus, we all know it takes time to learn some technique. Instead, agree together that it's going to be a relaxing and experimental. So don't make the focus the orgasm itself. Make the focus the connection, the communication, and the pleasure. The next step that I think is really important and probably one of the more fun parts, and it's the fact that you want to try something new. If you know that something works for you, don't be afraid to incorporate it into the bedroom. But if not, try something entirely new to the both of you. This is a really great way for you and your partner to build the connection and build the bond, because it's something that you and your partner are finding together. Trying a new couples toy, watching a kinky video, watching other sex educators, or maybe it's something as simple as just trying out a new different position. But I want you guys to embark this journey together. This one is not necessarily solo, because at some point, you are gonna have to try as a team. And last but not least is that we wanna keep this conversation flowing. Now that you have been brave enough to express and reveal that you have been faking your orgasm, this is the time to keep that line of communication open, not to fall back into cycle. Sex should be something that you and your partner discuss openly. People that talk about their sex life outside of the bedroom tend to have a better sex life. So now that you've broken the cycle, make it a part of your normal conversation. This will help you and your partner feel more connected and more relaxed, which are two things that are gonna help you achieve that orgasm. Now, I just wanna add, some people have the best sex life and there's actually no orgasms involved at all. And that's totally okay. But you need to stop faking it so you can get into this place of honesty with our partner. Because when things aren't going really well in the bedroom, they tend to bleed out into our regular everyday relationship. It's almost like that pent up sexual frustration. Like, you're not listening to me, you're not doing what I want, but I'm also not telling you. And chances are, if you're not communicating in the bedroom, you're probably not really communicating outside of the bedroom. But tell them about the things that you do love about them and about your sex life and the things that you want to try and you want to explore with your partner. Then you guys can have fun experimenting together, whatever the final result might be, whether it be new sensations, whether it be pleasure, whether it be connection, or maybe potentially you might hit your orgasm. Once you guys have officially settled on being open and honest about your sex life, you can both enjoy the ride and enjoy the journey that intimacy can provide to you. And once again, I am telling you right now, you are not the only one who has fallen into this cycle. But it's now time that you know that you are worthy of pleasure. You know that you are worthy of those sensations. You know you are worthy of an orgasm. And I want to help you step right into your pleasure. So like I said, if you have any questions or anything that you want me to answer, don't be afraid to DM me on Instagram or drop them in the comment section down below. I want to hear from my vulva owners because it's time that I actually fulfilled my purpose and stepped into listening and talking and teaching and exploring and learning with you guys. All right, babies, I will see you on Thursday for another special episode. Cheers.